What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 56 of the Stand Up Guys podcast. I'm your host, incomparable Zach Jones, joined as always by, the Fritz Robinson to my Ernst Robinson, Lester Jones.
Wait, wasn't Fritz the more manly one, and Ernst was kind of like the nerdy one?
Fritz is the oldest one, so,
I got you, age.
But, yeah, Fritz is the manlier one. Maybe I should have went with Fritz.
Big old testes on the Fritz.
Is that a Swiss Family Robinson?
Swiss Family.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Never seen it. Okay.
It's good.
Plus, Fritz gets the girl in the end, doesn't he? Damn it. Why wasn't I Fritz?
Yeah, poor Ernst, the nerd, doesn't get the girl. I forgot about that.
And, of course, we got the Ninth Wonder, Chocolate Thunder, the Prince of Principles, the Earl of Ethics. He never steals, he never curses, he only fingers prison purses, the phenomenal A.J. Singh.
Prison purses?
What's up, everyone?
Wait, prison person?
That's slang for butthole,
Beehole. Yeah.
Really?
also known as prison wallet. Either one will do.
I didn't know that. Before we get started, side note, I was reading this article where, like, some dude in prison got 4 female guards pregnant, like, at the same time.
What?
I'm thinking this is a charming motherfucker.
No. That makes me think these female officers have some serious personality problems.
Plus, like, if you have, like, this barrier in front of you and you're still, like, getting enough, like, you've probably got some swang.
Oh, yeah. I can see that. Yeah.
Plus, like, none of these guards are, like... they're like, I'm okay having unprotected sex with a criminal. This can't end poorly.
4 of them agreed to do that.
Yeah. Like,
and they didn't even know about each other, or did they? Like,
I have no idea. Well, the thing, like, women, though, are, like, they don't work the way you think. It's like, oh, she's getting some? Like, this guy,
Yeah, that's true.
is like, he must have something going. If she's getting some, she's getting some. Like, I better get me some.
Okay, yeah. Guys are different. Guys are like, oh,
Yeah, we
we
don't think about that, right? Yeah, like, if you know a girl who's been with a bunch of guys, she's like,
Yeah, no thanks.
back away, not today.
Yeah.
He's one of those prison guys that got fucking yoked.
Oh, yeah.
I'm surprised, though, that they don't try to segregate prison guards. They don't have, like, male guards for male inmates, female guards for female inmates. That
It
sort
does
of thing.
seem like that would be a better
Yeah,
idea.
it seems more appropriate.
Wasn't there a story, like, where, like, they put a... trans woman, in a female prison, and then, like, one of the other inmates got pregnant.
Oh, I didn't hear about the pregnancy.
I want to say that's true. I think I saw it on Twitter or something.
There was something else I was following a little bit. It's like there was this guy named Chris Chan, and he's like either autistic or Asperger's or something. He's on the spectrum, and he's done this like kind of, I want to say it's a YouTube channel or something, some streaming. He puts his content out there, but he's kind of like very crazy about it, and he's been very susceptible to trolling and just craziness in general. But at some point he comes out as transgender, and there's like this whole thing where apparently like he had sex with his mom, but like he said she initiated it, something like that. But so like he got sentenced for this, but because he was trans, he was allowed to go to a women's prison. And so, he's basically been booked on like rape charges because his mom is like senile or something weird. So even though he says his mom initiated, like she's in some kind of weird mental state, so like she hasn't consented. But yeah, it's such a weird idea to just have potentially someone who's been charged with rape being put in with female inmates.
But I'm surprised, like, if he's got a mental condition of his own, that they even, like, sentenced him that hard.
Like, I would think he'd go to, like, a facility or
Yeah, like a mental
You
hospital.
would think mental facility in his particular case, especially since he's on the spectrum and obviously has some issues.
Yeah. I mean, no normal person does that with their mom. He's...
Right, yeah, definitely something's not right.
Yeah.
And the thing is, there's like documentary on this guy, and they say he's probably the most documented person in history. Like, just because so many people have trolled him, and like he's put out so much content, and it's so strange. Like, he goes through this, and just check YouTube and Chris Chan, and you'll find a ton of videos, and it's so kind of strange, and it's just like one of these like rabbit holes you go down, and you just like I got to a point where I couldn't go anymore.
So like, when you say like he gets trolled, like do you mean like they study his reactions to that and like what he does in response?
Well, no, this is something that came before, because he like I said, he's on the spectrum, so he created like these characters. I want to say Sonichu, which was a combination of Sonic and Pikachu.
Oh, okay.
So he was kind of like weird doing his own thing. He'd do like comics and like different things like this, and they were very kind of strange because, you know, he's on the spectrum. He has weird ideas. And people would like troll him and say like, this is my idea and stuff, and they troll him and they like get his passwords for different things and take control of his like different sites and content and just weird shit.
Yeah.
And I remember there was something about a girl who was like, she went on like a troll date with him and like was taking advantage of him and just getting weird shit. And there's so many people involved, and it was so strange. It's been a while since I watched it, so, but yeah, if you're interested, check out Chris Chan, and it's just such a weird ongoing story. And like, there are trolls accusing him of being gay, and he was kind of vehement about being not gay, and like all these things, what reasons why he wasn't gay. And like every time someone attacked him, like he'd come out with a very like
Serious,
serious, aggressive like defense about it. And so it just kind of egged them on, and like he didn't stop and they didn't stop. And so really he was kind of like a victim of all of this. And at some point, like, he transitioned, like he decided, okay, I'm trans or whatever, and he started transitioning to be a woman. And it's just such it's a strange and sad story. And I don't know, it is interesting, it is captivating, but it's also, yeah, it's very just, it's sad in the end.
Yeah, he needs help.
Well, you know, it's also pretty fucked up. And I'm guessing like most of the people who are trolling him are probably like, you know, teenagers. But
right.
like,
and it was obvious some of them were very just gigantic assholes, and some of them were just kind of like doing weird stuff.
because if you know somebody's like, you know, autistic or, you know, has some sort of like mental problem, to be like really mean and shitty towards them, it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, that's
Right.
That's picking on.
It's taking advantage, and it is weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a combination of so many just strange things, and like just like bad human behavior. It's hard not to be captivated to a certain extent.
I gotta say, one thing about the internet and, you know, platforms like YouTube and TikTok and whatnot, they really let you see just how much mental illness and just how many like characters there are in the world. Like,
Right, you do get close-up profiles of some very strange people.
It is weird. People will say the most absurd thing and put LOL behind it, and you'll just be
Right.
like, "Are you
LOL,
joking?"
yeah.
Like,
Right. Trying to understand their perspective is strange.
do you happen to remember, like, when I used to watch periodically Tom Segura's podcast in front of you, did you ever see when he had that Fed smoker guy on their videos?
Like, I've watched some of his videos, and maybe I would remember if you...
So it's so crazy. So there's this guy that went by the name Fed Smoker. That was like his, you know, screen name or whatever. The crazy thing about this guy, so this guy largely think that he was on meth because of how confrontational he was with cops and people in positions of authority.
Right, strangely, that is a symptom.
Yeah, but I mean, he was always videoing himself. He had this car that was decked out in cameras that he said he never turned off. They were just always rolling.
Okay, this is kind of like the angry, crazy car guy.
Yeah.
Okay, I know.
Yeah. The crazy thing is, this guy actually died. They found a thing where they found him like alongside a highway, like dead. But he was so paranoid, he had like a million YouTube channels. So like, even though he's dead, they still are finding videos of this guy that they've never seen before, and they're all fucking crazy. Like. Like some of the more popular ones they showed, like there's one where he's videoing himself in his car and he's like, I got this fucking bad tooth, right? So he doesn't go to a dentist. He takes a pair of pliers and he fucking rips it out himself. And you see the string of blood coming from his mouth. It's really fucked up. And like one of the other popular ones they show, he's like, "Oh, you need a haircut." And he's like, "You don't go to a barber." He sets his fucking hair on fire. Oh my God. And he's like, "You gotta feather it, brother." Okay, this guy is fucking out there, man. Right.
At first, I was gonna ask you if it was like a suspicious death, but now I think it's probably his own actions.
Right? Yeah, he has issues.
But yeah, look up Fed Smoker online because I mean it's just a treasure trove of the wackiest shit, and like he would constantly go up to cops and like antagonize them. Just in people like in places of authority and antagonize them. Just like I don't know how this guy wasn't locked up in prison.
Yeah, meth is crazy, man. Like it depends where you're at. Like even just like I'm a security guard, so recently I saw someone. We're in Portland. Drugs have been decriminalized, and they just smoke crack right in front of the cops, and they're like, "Well."
When we did our ghost tour, we saw somebody smoking crack.
Yeah. It's just like, they can do it. Yeah. But, yeah, man, drugs.
I mean, I'm in favor of them decriminalizing drugs, but yeah, that is gonna be...
Me too.
That is going to be a symptom of it, is people like just doing it out in the open, I guess.
When are we going to do mushrooms, man?
When we can get our hands on them, man. It's like, I don't know why it's so hard to find here, but... I mean, I don't really know anybody anyway, so
that's
hard,
the thing. We don't know enough.
Yeah,
like,
just sign up for one of those experimental drug trials. Where
like, I don't want to do microdosing. I want to do an actual dose of mushrooms.
I want to experience.
Wouldn't you want to start
some LSD?
Wouldn't you want to start with microdosing?
No, I want to go on a journey, a spiritual journey.
I mean, I don't know if I want to start like full in, but like at some point, like I think, like some LSD, something.
I think mushroom.
Psychedelic. I don't want to do like meth.
Right. I think mushrooms are safer than
I feel
LSD.
Right, mushrooms, LSD, something not too crazy.
I think LSD is crazy.
You think LSD is crazy?
Yeah, shrooms fine. LSD a little bit over the top.
They're in the same like spectrum, right?
Well, they have similar effects, I think, but LSD is like a real hardcore like chemical, drug that can mess up your body. Whereas mushrooms are pretty,
And
mushrooms are like some chemical that like.
Well, I mean, psilocybin, but it doesn't have a really profound negative impact on your body.
Most of them don't have super negative. LSD, if you do it continually and high dosage, it can mess with your
brain.
I think you're gonna want to talk closer to your mic. Maybe
I'm pretty close, man.
Maybe you should hold it in your hand. I don't know.
Higher and higher.
All right, let's switch topics from LSD. What have you guys been watching this week?
I've been working so much, but I did see the Eternals trailer that just came out from Marvel.
Oh yeah, I saw that as well.
And I like how it fills out some of the plot holes that you thought there might be.
That sounds familiar, but I don't remember anything. Can you fill me in?
It's the new Marvel movie with Selma Hayek, Angelina Jolie.
I'm in. Does she break out her titties?
Well, she's more of the wise person, I think, of the group in this one.
That's how you know you're getting old, though, is when the sex symbols you grew up with are now playing the old wise characters. You're fuck.
I would still like Selma Hayek. Come on. Come on, she's still a babe.
I think she goes out of her way to hide her boobs, though, too.
I mean, at a certain point, you probably don't want to break them out.
Yeah. Once you're successful enough, you don't need to show them off.
Although... did Penelope Cruz ever break him out? I don't think she did. I don't remember.
What does she do anymore, though? I haven't seen her in anything.
Yeah, I think she became a mom, did she? She's kind of living that life now.
I want to say I didn't see it, but I think she might have been in the remake of Murder on the Orient Express.
Right, she was on that. I do remember the trailers, but I never saw the movie. But
Did she show anything in Blow? I mean, she must have she looks sexy in Blow.
I never saw that either. But
dude.
Babe and a Half.
I bet she's done nude scenes. You just haven't watched her filmography.
Seems like if I knew about it, I would have had to have watched it.
I bet there's like a Spanish language film or something.
I think she's like very like. I think she's been conservative about it. I could be wrong. I don't know.
Huh?
Should Google.
There's no way to answer this question.
Google is how you answer this question.
Oh, and one more thing on my end. I just sold my cryptocurrency. I bought in at like 2 Gs and made 400.
Okay, not bad.
Jumped out.
Pretty good. How long? What time period?
Over like a month and a half.
A month? Okay, $400 a month and a half. Pretty good.
Yeah. And I'm just waiting for it to come back down, hopefully, and then I'll jump back in.
Yeah, it's a very tricky market, and who knows? It's been super crazy. People have been maniacal. It's crazy. I don't think it's really a safe place to be, but people are there.
Yeah. I'm just riding the wave. Let's see what happens.
That's what she said.
I've just been watching more Batwoman.
Okay. That's with Ruby Rose?
Well, she was in season 1, and then she decided she didn't want to be Batwoman anymore. I think she's going to have like... So a different woman basically becomes Batwoman. I think Ruby Rose is going to play... I haven't made it yet, but I think she's like got a small part in maybe like the final episode or whatever. But for the most part, she's not in it anymore.
That sounds strange. Like she's the main character, and then like it goes without her.
So
and then she's in the last episode.
So she was Batwoman in season 1, and I want to say she actually got hurt doing a stunt or something.
Okay.
And maybe even had to have some surgery or something. And basically, she just decided she didn't want to do it. And they agreed to that or whatever. And so now there's an African-American woman that they put in the role. Like, they decided not to, like, use the same character and just recast. They decided, we'll invent a totally different character, and she's Batwoman now.
Okay. Strange, but okay.
I remember her from John Wick, Ruby Rose. She was kind of a letdown because, spoiler alert, he kicked her ass pretty easily.
That was the first place I ever saw her. And I kind of liked her in there. The fact that she's deaf, like, gave her character, like, an air of mystery or something.
There was intrigue there.
I gotta say, though, like, I don't think she's the strongest actress, if I'm being honest. Like, Batwoman season 1, like, she's serviceable, but, like, I don't think she's, like, a terrific actress.
I don't know. I haven't watched it. Yeah.
Batwoman as a show, like I said last week talking about it, like
I think it could work.
It's both very heavy-handed at times and very, like, silly at times, but, like, if you're in the mood for a superhero show, like, it gets the job done. Like, you can totally watch it. It's no Flash, though.
That's good, right? The special effects on Flash from season 1, somebody did like a side-by-side comparison, and they just aren't doing the same things that they did at the beginning with that show. Like, they've cut back on
they weren't getting enough ratings, so those like, let's pull back.
So, like,
and then they're like, it's even worse. Let's pull back.
Exactly.
So, like, you're saying, like, the effects in season 1 were better.
Yeah.
I can believe that.
I watched like season 1 and 2, and then I kind of quit.
Okay.
I really liked the bad guy in season 1. I felt like what's his name, D'Onofrio.
No, you're thinking about Daredevil, man.
Daredevil.
Oh, he was
way off.
Kingpin. Kingpin was a good.
We're talking about the
he
Flash.
Was excellent. The Flash is completely different.
You got to stop drinking before.
Well, I've been drinking, but I feel like it's a good thing, even though it's
But did you see the first 2 seasons of Flash?
I definitely remember
because the bad guy is like, the mentor,
right,
in the wheelchair.
and he kind of flashes back and forth. So like you have multiple versions of him, and you never know if he's good or if he's evil, or like it's strange, like multi-universe.
Well,
stuff.
that guy does end up playing many different versions.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
But I think for the most, season 1 is the shock where you find out, he's the bad guy.
Right.
But after that, most of the other seasons, he's clearly a good guy.
Like, I've only watched a couple seasons, so I don't know if he's the good guy or the bad guy.
Oh, okay.
Dude,
Which is an okay element, I think. But okay, he turns out to be the good guy.
Yeah,
Note
Tom Cavanaugh's a pretty
Yeah.
good actor. I like him. Yeah.
the best scene, I don't know if I told you guys this, but the best scene is when...
Selma Hayek's boobs.
Well, that would be the best scene if it happened.
Gotcha.
But is when Cisco Ramon finds out that Harrison Wells betrayed and he's the bad guy.
He's like the nerdy guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's so good, so well acted, I felt like. And just, it breaks your heart,
Yeah, and doesn't he, it's been a minute since I watched season 1, but, doesn't he, actually kill him? But then, the Flash, ends up, going back in time or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nuts. He's like a father figure to him, Wow.
Yeah, season 1 was definitely the strongest, but I don't know. I think it's just a fun show.
Yeah.
Maybe I continue. It just feels a little campy, and I wasn't sure if I should.
All those shows,
I'm so picky these days. I'm like, I'm not sure. Should I watch it?
Even Legends of Tomorrow, all those shows are campy as heck, man.
Right.
But
it's fun. The Legends of Tomorrow.
Like Xena campy, I really liked it.
Exactly.
So it's.
I gotta figure, don't you think eventually they'll take another stab at Xena? They'll bring her back.
I would take another stab at Xena.
You said that.
And Gabriella.
And Gabrielle, right?
I don't know though. There's the rumors they may play for the other team.
Yeah, I feel like they were stabbing each other just fine.
Then you got to bring back Kevin
that was such a
Sorbo.
brilliant play on their part. This kind of sexual tension between. But
I never really watched Xena.
No?
I watched some Xena.
I definitely...
I probably passively watched it with him watching it, but I never paid attention to it. Really.
Probably not because I watched it in my room. It's God, such a babe, man. Lucy Lawless.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
That's all this show is now is thinking about women.
Actresses that
older women that used to be even hotter.
That's all life is, man. And you can't say she's not still hot. She's still hot. Xena, still hot. Selma Hayek.
Yeah.
Are you fucking joking me?
Yeah.
Still hot as fuck.
Now, famously, if you watch Parks and Rec, Xena is on that show, and she ends up with Ron Swanson.
Right, and I feel like I'm Ron Swanson, so I really...
You feel like one of your team won there.
Right, he won, but also I could move into that position and potentially some random Lucy Loveless is going to.
I feel like your comparison to Ron Swanson is that you're anti-government.
Right, that's the whole thing. He's a libertarian, right?
Oh yeah, okay.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'd work all night just to make sure nothing gets done. That's Ron Swanson. I love Ron Swanson. Just sits there around eating bacon. I do that.
You need to just have the mustache, though.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking? I have a mustache.
But you need to shave everything but the mustache.
Yeah, it's all about the stash.
Just the stash. What about the goatee? Gus?
No, he doesn't have a good. Does he have a goatee?
No, he just got the
because
stash.
when I did that before, just mustache and goatee. Occasionally, more than once, women accuse me of trying to go the Leonardo DiCaprio route.
Yeah, but did Lucy Lawless ever say anything to you?
Well, I've never met her.
Yeah, exactly. That's what
but Leonardo DiCaprio, he got some pussy.
He gets a lot. He's a little I don't know, borderline. He's 40s man now.
Right,
he's hanging out with 20-year-olds.
Similar age. He whatever he wants.
He's always with models that are 20.
Yeah.
Right. And you're just yeah, good for this guy.
He's living the life.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he played Gilbert Grape, and if get you some pussy, good for you.
I don't think that's the role that got him all those girls, though.
Right. You don't.
I think Titanic may have done more.
Well, okay.
Growing pains.
Agree to disagree.
What about that Gilbert Grape's mom, though?
Oh my. Well, that might get some guys some pussy.
Oh god, I like thick girls, but man, come on.
I like thick girls. Okay. Well, I mean, we've been going for a bit.
Yeah. Let's try to get into the show. So,
Moving on into what current topics, possibly.
yeah, let's see. So we're just going to go around the table here and bring a topic of conversation to the forefront. And as tradition dictates, we usually start with AJ. So AJ, what do you got first?
All right, rainbow, dildo, butt monkey are 4 words no one ever imagined uttering in the same sentence. But here we are.
Rainbow, dildo, butt, monkey. Okay, on track.
A library in London, England apologized after a children's event they hosted didn't exactly go as planned. Redbridge Libraries hired Mandinga Arts to provide entertainers for their summer reading challenge event on July 10th when video footage from the day went viral. One of the entertainers, who was described as, you guessed it, a rainbow dildo butt monkey, on Twitter was dressed well exactly how you'd expect a rainbow dildo butt monkey to look. A person in a multicolored monkey costume with nipples exposed along with a fake penis and butt cheeks hanging out. Writer Janice Turner tweeted, I would really love a detailed breakdown of the commissioning process whereby Redbridge Council commissioned the rainbow dildo butt monkey as a means to teach children to read.
$1,000 an hour.
The library issued an apology after receiving complaints from area residents and parents. During an event put on our library today, there was a performance by a carnival arts company, read the apology tweet. Unfortunately, one of the animal costumes was inappropriate, which we were not aware of at the time of the booking. We deeply apologize for the offense caused. This is being looked into. They added that this will never happen again, but damage was done. The visions of rainbow monkeys exposed parts forever burned into locals' retinas, unable to see what their innocent eyeballs took in. Plus, some took screenshots of comments from the library that prior to issuing the apology, Redbridge Libraries appeared to think the meddlesome monkey was hilarious, albeit out of control, writing, but when you've got it, flaunt it, I suppose. Mandinga Arts Group, the company hired by the library that provided the characters, also apologized on their website, stating that while the monkey was previously well received at carnival events, it was entirely unsuitable for children's events and should never have been used. The community-based organization added, our lack of judgment in this choice of costume is one we deeply regret, having profoundly undermined our relationship with partners and the public. We apologize profusely to everyone concerned and are horrified by the repercussions it had on the partners. The monkey costume has since been retired, so anyone searching for an inappropriate children's entertainer will have to look elsewhere.
Oh, what a disaster. I've seen pictures of this.
Yeah, I saw a picture on Twitter of it, and that's...
Yeah, basically if you imagine a human gorilla in rainbow colors, but with a fucking strap-on dildo and nipples. That's pretty much the picture. And what was anybody thinking in this process?
Yeah.
Yeah, how did this even happen?
Yeah,
the library tried to roll with it. They're like, oh, it's funny.
Well, obviously somebody on board was very woke, and they're like, let's, But yeah.
But shouldn't the guy have known better?
Yeah.
Well, you would think so, but maybe at the same time, you're just you're in that process, or you're maybe... maybe society needs to change what they think.
I would be afraid of getting on the one of those sex lists or whatever those are.
Yeah,
sex offender lists.
Yeah, exposing children to something inappropriate. Yeah. It's so inappropriate, and I'm fairly open to free will and people can do what they want, but. When children are involved, you do have to draw some line somewhere.
Yeah, you got to be a little bit more cautious and responsible.
Right.
All right, from Rainbow Dildo Man to Manifesto Round 1.
Okay, moving on. What's essentially become a sex site, OnlyFans,
oh yeah,
has recently said they're going to ban explicit content. You can show nudity, but you can't have sexually explicit content. And basically, this seems to be stemming from like bank pressure that they're not going to process.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Right, they're not going to process transactions from this site anymore. And, they've come out publicly and said they're not going to support these sexually explicit content, and they're going to block it. And what's interesting, if you look back at Tumblr, like the same thing happened to them. They created this huge amount of content. They created this big system, incredibly profitable, and they sold for, it was like $1.1 billion. It was a huge number, right? And whoever bought it was put on the same thing happened, and they had to come out as like, we're going to ban explicitly sexual content. And like a number of years later, like whoever bought it sold it for like, I forgot what it was. It's like $1 or $3 million. So can you imagine buying something for $1 billion and selling it for like a few $1 million? It's just like, obviously, this is where your audience is. This is where your content providers are. And somehow banks are interfering with this significantly enough to destroy your entire business.
That is such BS. Because these same banks are doing the same thing with marijuana as well. So, like, they don't want you using credit cards. You have to use only cash for marijuana. And at the same time, you have Deutsche Bank supporting terrorists who have money in their banks, and they're actually using money, funneling it through them to act on terrorism.
I've been trying to think about this, and the thing is, if you think, it's a bit confusing because they're both gigantic industries. I want to say porn is like 30% of the internet, right?
Yeah.
It's gigantic. It's like, why don't you want to be this? You don't want to have this as part of your business, but there's so many things here. Like we're gonna have to circle back because at some point, if we talk about terrorism, we have to talk about the withdrawal from Afghanistan, right? Mm-hmm. And we've announced we're gonna withdraw, and already, the Taliban has taken 75% of the country? I don't even know. It's ridiculous.
That was going to happen no matter how long we stayed there, though.
Yeah, that's true. It was just inevitable.
Right. I do feel like it was inevitable, and that our being there was completely idiotic.
Resource-driven, man. I think so.
I think you're right, because if you look at this, your Lockheed Martins, all these defense companies, they pay millions of dollars to congressmen to to make these billions of dollars, to have all this war funding passed to them. But it's just crazy. So I'm kind of wondering if the porn industry really, what they're lacking is a good lobby, right? You need to lobby. You need to start paying congressmen, and you're probably, all your problems are going to go away.
Well, I got to say, I don't really understand the stance of the banks either, because the other thing
it's a ton of money. Why are you doing this?
Well, what I don't understand, so remember this, several months ago, Pornhub had to basically purge all
right,
a ton of their videos,
yeah.
And that was driven by the banks as well, because the banks is you have all these users who, unverified users who could be uploading child porn or things like that, and so they're we're not going to do business with you unless you have more of a control on who's uploading videos. So that was their reasoning behind that, and so they purged a shit ton of their videos, and then basically you have to go through some sort of process to be able to upload,
to validate, right?
So if that's their standard with Pornhub, they're obviously willing to do business with a sexually explicit company. So why isn't their standard with OnlyFans as long as you're not putting child porn on?
Well, I think that is the fear. In the department, you have the fear that underage girls are being taken advantage of. You also have the fear that in the industry there are just women being taken advantage of. like the slavery issue or the those issues. And if you think about it, those issues probably are very hard to single out. They're hard to eradicate. They're hard to deal with in general as far as data goes. And you probably have a lot of pressure from the civilian population to deal with those issues. And so I think that's probably a large part of why we're seeing this.
It just, to me, even if OnlyFans does this, I mean, maybe we should make the next OnlyFans and find a bank that'll actually deal with this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's the thing. Someone's going to fill this gap.
The void.
And, right. That's a terrible. That's obviously going to be like, people are going to be filling this hole in the market.
By the way, how many people actually like? It's not like people. The populace is putting pressure on the banks. Like most people don't give a shit who their bank is doing business with.
The thing is, there are groups.
Are there?
There are definitely religious groups. There's definitely like people.
But you're giving the squeaky wheel the grease in this scenario,
right? But I mean that does happen very frequently in politics and in life, and people. I mean, I'm very offended by the idea of child pornography.
Well, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody
is. But the thing is, like, trying to eradicate it is also a very difficult problem. And if your website, just like, they say, well, if we just don't give you, if we don't bank with you, if we don't take your transactions, well, obviously, we've completely eliminated the problem from our end.
I mean, it's just a simple, checks and balances, You got to make sure that the people who sign up are who they say they are, like you can do that with DoorDash.
I mean, that's obviously the problem, but I don't think it is that simple. I mean, there's so many crazy people in the world, and there's so many abusive people in the world. It is like, can you tell necessarily the difference between a 17-year-old and an 18-year-old?
No.
Can you necessarily tell the difference between someone who's being used sexually and someone who's doing this of their own free will? There are lines, and it's very hard to tell sometimes, I think. And there are obviously people in the world who are shitty enough that you can't tell, necessarily straight out what the problem is.
But I mean, aren't all to an extent like I still don't know how Pornhub exactly like ensures this doesn't happen. I guess if they have everyone as a registered user, if they find a video, they can trace it back to a particular person.
Some of them I know that they have adapted like verification procedures. Like, you send a verification video. Maybe you pay a charge via a credit card, which obviously you're 18 to get a credit card.
Why can't they just do the same thing with OnlyFans? Verify all their users.
I mean, there's probably a lot of potential there. It's just I really don't know. But yeah, it seems like they're really killing their fan base. And I mean, if you look, like I said, if you look at Tumblr, sold for 1.1 billion and down to like 1 or 3 million. It's. I mean, they're probably going to destroy the company.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, all these people.
I mean, that's what that company's. I've never been to OnlyFans, but that's what OnlyFans is known for.
Yeah.
Like, I suppose there are people on there that don't do sexually explicit content, but like that's what when I hear of OnlyFans, it's always in that context.
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing is, as a company, what the fuck do you do? What the fuck do you do?
But I feel sorry for like legitimate people on there because like there's people like maybe even like former porn stars.
There's people making $6,000 a year easy on there.
Because how we've talked about how like Mia Khalifa did all shit ton of like porn. The porn companies made millions off of her, but she just made like hardly anything.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like I don't know if she has an OnlyFans account,
She
but
does.
if she does, like she's actually now making bank. And she should, I guess, you know.
Yeah, it's her content.
Well, reading some of these articles, they charge like 20%. So the other 80% goes to the
which is
performer.
Yeah, okay.
Which, I mean, that's not surprising.
It's better than what they were getting.
I mean, I think Amazon charges more than that to sell your product. So,
But, you know, there's like a million of these, like, you know, chat with a woman that's topless kind of sites or whatever. Like, is there no bank going through those?
The thing is, they're not big enough yet.
Oh, so OnlyFans is just getting the attention because they're so popular?
They're big. They're like they're on like Tumblr. They're a $1 billion company. They're starting to get attention. They're starting to, you know, they're creating these issues.
Now, people can post naked pictures on Twitter. Are they going to get the same thing happening to them?
Well, the thing is, OnlyFans is going to allow nudity. And Twitter allows nudity, but they also allow pornography. And Twitter is one of the few like big ones that actually allows pornographic content.
I'm wondering if they're going to eventually like.
I mean, you could see it. I really don't know.
Although I guess there's not really that much money transactions. On
right,
Twitter.
there aren't there's everything on Twitter is more indirect. I feel like
it's like ad based,
right?
Marketing and stuff, yeah.
On OnlyFans, you can have subscribers.
Right.
You can have, and so they're threatening to block some of those subscriber payments through Visa or MasterCard, and kind of destroy it that way.
Now, aren't there, you know, porn sites, you know, besides, you know, Pornhub that people can subscribe to and pay some sort of fee to that haven't done what they do, or they just have verified users?
I mean, I'm sure.
Or maybe Pornhub were just so big compared to the other ones that they got
I mean, it's gigantic.
singled out or whatever.
So it's obviously a business struggle. And tying your business to anything that's as risky as that it kind of sucks.
Now, we probably should have made this 2 topics, but because you mentioned the whole Afghanistan thing, I figured to come back around to that. Because, like, so Biden, you know, made this decision to leave Afghanistan.
Which I appreciate.
I know. And the thing is, he announced it months ago, but I was like, this is just going to be some bullshit thing where we don't really get out, but it seems like we are.
Yeah.
And the thing I find interesting is, and it doesn't really surprise me, but, you know, I watch Kyle Kalinske quite a bit on YouTube. He's like a progressive commentator.
I think I've heard you listening to him, but yeah, okay, go ahead.
And, but he points out how, like, you know, corporate Democrats who take money from places like Lockheed Martin.
Right.
And the mainstream media, including like MSNBC, who, you know, has a reputation for being left-leaning, but when push comes to shove, like, they know where their bread is buttered. So all their commentators basically are saying that Biden shouldn't have done this and he did it the wrong way. And, you know...
Well, you're always looking for some criticism. And there was no way to get out without being a mess. We've been there for... 20 fucking years or however fucking long. And it's just insane. Like, we never should have been there. And all it really did was funnel money to these companies. There's nothing else it really did.
Yeah, I mean, you hear about all the money that contractors got from these big deals to rebuild schools and build hospitals. Well, those hospitals didn't even get built, you know, or not properly.
Right.
And, all the money went into their pockets.
And there's a great book. God, what was it called? I forget what it was called. There was this guy, and he was basically he would write up these big plans for improving a country. All this like kind of internal development, like dams and all this stuff. And it'd be like poor countries, and we'd cut them a deal. We'd say, hey, let's do all this internal stuff for you, and exchange, you know, you'll put on your end, like the rights to your mining or such and such. And the theory was, or what we sold them on, was that all this internal development, all these dams, all this infrastructure we're building is going to make you more than enough money to pay back these loans and pay back all this money for all this development. And essentially it doesn't. And they kind of know that it's not going to happen. And when it falls through, they demand these things. They demand your mining rights. They demand your oil rights. And it's such a weird and subtle form of control. But like in Afghanistan, like it's a strange type of war that you can't win because everybody who's against you is integrated. Like they disappear into the system. They're in the woodwork. They're like, termites, and you can't really see them. And it's just so kind of strange. It's like an unwinnable war.
Yeah. And you're surrounded on both sides by Pakistan and Iran.
Right. And all these billions of dollars you're pouring in are basically just going to companies, and they're paying a chunk of that money back to the congressmen to perpetuate this system. And it's so dark and so just such a horrible thing to witness and to feel that, like, personally as a taxpayer, I feel like I'm part of this. And, like, how do you even separate yourself from something so terrible?
Yeah, it really is the military-industrial complex that Truman warned us about so many years ago.
It's definitely there, yes. And nobody on either party is really making any attempt to pull back.
And nobody's safe from, it's like now they're selling tanks to the cops, right? Now we have military police, in our own country.
I mean, you do see that, and a lot of people argue about having guns or stuff, and there's certain people who argue, like, we should have the same weaponry as the cops and the police, because when things do get shitty enough, you want to have enough force, enough, potential even on your side to fight back if you decide it's necessary. And the thing is like there's certain shitty people with that potential who use it against you, and like you use that as an argument to disarm and take away that potential from the people. And it's such a dangerous system to watch, and it's like, personally, it's very saddening. It's very disheartening and even depressing for me. And like, if you're on that side of the fence, it's really hard to even know, what to do or what to pursue or what to believe, or, with the surveillance system in place, how much do you even advertise of what you believe? Because there are a lot of dangers there, I feel like.
I will say, like, switching gears a little bit, Kyle Kalinske also did a good job of pointing out how, like, the media is kind of hypocritical in many other ways, because, like, they're really, like, trying to get us to go back into Afghanistan or whatever. But, like, I don't know exactly what the situation is in Yemen, but apparently, like, people in Yemen have been getting fucking slaughtered. But they don't try to get us to go into Yemen, like Afghanistan, because it's not.
The Saudis are in charge over there. They don't want to go against the Saudis.
Yeah. Okay, is that what it is?
Right. It has no meaning. Like, if it was purely on a more moral stance, like North Korea, obviously, like, this guy is a gigantic piece of shit. Like, his predecessors have been gigantic pieces of shit. Like, you should oppose this on a moral stance, but yeah.
But there's nothing there.
Right. There's no motive there. There's no good reason to go there.
Yeah.
The other thing you pointed out, you mentioned Saudi Arabia, is that, like, one of the things that, like, the media is harping on is, like, oh, the Taliban are taking teenage sex slaves. But Saudi Arabia does that too. But since they're our ally, they don't fucking point that out.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. And
I mean, what was it, like, how many of the hijackers of 9/11 were Saudi Arabian, man? We attacked Afghanistan.
Yeah, weren't most of them from Saudi Arabia?
I think all of them but 2 were from Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, like, I don't even remember enough of that to make a comment.
I believe that's true. Yeah. Most of them were.
Bin Laden himself is Saudi. You know, like, yeah, they made a deal with Saudi Arabia a long time ago. You provide oil, we provide the military. You know, and we made a deal with the devil. Now we're stuck, or we choose to work with it. I don't know.
I will say, like, this Afghanistan story, I do really feel sorry for the women in Afghanistan that, they've had these 20 years now.
Well, just the people in general.
Well, yeah.
Like anyone
but women especially, because of how they're treated, They've had 20 years now of not being under Taliban control, and now they're going to go, and they've been able to get, like, educations and stuff like that, and now it's just going to go back to the way it was. And, man, I feel so sorry for them. I wish there was a way to get them out of there, It
was so quick. I'm like, what the fuck were we even doing over there? Did we make any attempt to arm the populace? I know we were sending money to their military, but
well,
it sounded like that was very corrupt. And
now there's like pictures of Taliban guys with like Black Hawk helicopters and shit. They got
like
all this
like so much of it just transitioned to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's so.
But despite that, it's stupid to be in favor of like endless war and being over there. Like,
right. My opinion is that we never should have been there.
Yeah.
Like, it sucks to have to accept that there's these cultures that are just that have practices that we find so abhorrent. But two wrongs don't make a right, and us being over there trying to exert our influence on them forever isn't right
nothing.
Either.
Right.
And it doesn't work.
Nothing.
It does not work.
Yeah.
It just,
if you're going to conquer an area or like something, the only thing that really works is if you go there, you kind of like populate it, you take over.
Yeah, you actually have to colonize a place.
Right, colonization, essentially, yeah.
Not that I would be for that, but just...
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Colonizing in the past hasn't exactly been looked upon.
Well,
as a
another
good
part is like you should have like a similar culture, or and you have to keep their laws in place to prevent uprising. So,
and keep the people who know what's going on there. Keep them around. Don't get rid of everybody. Like, yeah, they know how the system works and how to stop famines from happening and all this stuff.
I mean, the thing is, like, if you'd gone in and maybe like kicked their ass and possibly moved Indians in or something to colonize, because the thing is, you do have similar cultural,
but Pakistan wouldn't allow that.
Well, right, but the thing is, there were like a lot of Sikhs and Hindus there before the Taliban, and a lot of them left, they packed up and left. But still, you do have similarities there. But yeah, if you just go in and conquer them and leave, it's going to accomplish nothing.
I really do think, in the long run, our best weapon is economics.
Yeah.
And basically getting other countries kind of hooked on our cultural exports, like movies and TV and shit like that, I think helps as well.
Well, you're right. I mean, that's gigantic. If you think of the number of people in the world who speak English because of the movies and because of so many other things, and because of like that's where the business center is, it's gigantic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just think over time, like, that's going to change those countries more than anything, because people like that kind of shit, and it's just I think given enough time, like you those kind of things I think can change the world for the better. I really do.
I mean, it's possible. If you look at like the Taliban, though, they're very careful about isolating the culture. They destroy. I mean, they've destroyed so many like Afghan museum artifacts. They've destroyed, Buddhist
4,000 or 2,000-year-old statues, I think.
Like, yeah, gigantic statues have been carved in like mountains and shit.
Yeah.
Like just dynamite destroyed. I mean, they're very methodical and they're very, it's rude to say, but very, very backwards. Very simple, and when people say they've gone back to the Stone Age,
Dark Ages.
yeah, right. It's not that far from the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it does seem like they're targeting. It's like a Pol Pot situation where they're targeting anything with like knowledge,
anything slightly different,
of,
anything strange. You take over the schools. You only allow religious teachings. I mean, there's so many things like that, and it's just it's devastating.
I kind of wonder, so one of the controversial things the last couple of years, and something the WWE has gotten some bad
a shift of
well, it's related though. They gotten some bad publicity because they basically signed a deal with Saudi Arabia, where and this was obviously COVID put a kink in these plans, but where basically a couple times a year they do these like huge shows in Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia is paying them insane amounts of money to do these shows.
Okay.
And, on one hand, I don't blame the wrestlers for doing it at all because they're getting huge paydays. It's one of those things where, I can see both arguments because on one side, for example, there's this one wrestler in WWE that has, Syrian ancestry.
Okay.
And so they won't let him go because Syrian or Saudis have a problem with the Syrians or whatever, and so obviously there's a lot of people that say just from a moral standpoint WWE should not be doing these shows over there. But on the other hand, I do think wrestling is one of those things that can bring people together. And despite anyone's feelings on it,
thesis.
No, it's true. It's a cultural thing, and a lot of people love it. And that's a connection between Americans and the people that love it over there. Just like movies or anything else. It's this thing that can bring people together that love a certain thing. But so it makes me wonder. Let's say they do these shows, for a while, and then eventually, I mean, Saudi Arabia is so shitty, I don't know what it would be, but let's say Saudi Arabia did something really terrible, and WWE was like, okay, we can't do this anymore, you've crossed the line. Those people that love wrestling over there would probably be legitimately, upset, maybe at the WWE, but maybe at their own government, to be like, look, you made us lose this thing we love because you're being shitty, That
happens here all the time, actually, with gay rights. I think the NBA, I think baseball also, they threatened to pull out their All-Star games out of certain states because they were trying to make anti-LGBTQI bills.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I mean, that works. We've seen it work here.
See, it's interesting.
Yeah, I can see it. Share, export, all that stuff, but at the same time, bring up the issues that are important and, try to get those things changed.
Yeah, it's always about numbers.
Yeah.
And the other thing is so the, Marvel movies or whatever play in all these different countries, but they'll other countries will heavily edit them oh, this character said is gay or whatever, then we'll just edit that or whatever, But what if that country did something shitty and we were just you know what? We're not showing Marvel movies in your country. Of course, they could get them anyways, I guess. Yeah. But at some level, their populace that loves Marvel movies would be upset. I don't know. I think there's something to that.
Yeah, it's such a complicated issue with so many facets. It's hard to say.
Let's see. Well, that was a long discussion on that. You guys got any final thoughts on either Afghanistan or OnlyFans?
I hope it works out for both of them.
I'm glad we're getting out of Afghanistan. OnlyFans needs to get back in. Yeah, that was probably our longest opening discussion. How long was that?
That was a pretty long discussion. In fact, we're almost at an hour, so I figure, can I ask you guys some trivia questions when we'll go out on this?
Let's go out on a trivia.
Let's do this.
Yeah, something completely different.
Yeah, let's
I
cleanse,
like that it went that long. Yeah.
cleanse the palate.
I felt like that was fresh.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird how like one story bled into the other.
Yeah. We threw Mia Khalifa in between to bridge that gap, I guess.
And she had that Cuba connection a couple weeks ago. All right, guys, I haven't looked at these questions, but this is supposed to be just general trivia.
All right.
Okay. So I guess this is just going to be first one that chimes in. What does www stand for in a website browser?
Oh, World Wide Web.
Shit.
That is correct.
Yeah, I'm sober, baby.
Not fair.
Teach you to drink.
How many points do I get as like a
Handicap.
handicap? Yeah.
None.
Prude.
Oh, this one's tough. How long is an Olympic swimming pool in meters?
300 meters.
100 meters.
100 meters would seem like much better.
You're both wrong. It's 50 meters.
50. Yeah. 300 meters. That's a fucking swim right there.
Okay. What countries made up the original Axis powers in World War II?
Japan.
U.S., England.
Oh, I'm talking about the.
Oh, no, that's
you won.
Allied. You're right.
Yeah, Japan, Germany, and Italy.
That is correct.
Damn it.
But the Italians were pretty worthless in that whole thing.
They're not thought of as shittily as the other two. They
Yeah,
don't get
that's
as
true,
much
yeah.
press.
Well, they put up a good face, but I don't think they did much fighting.
Yeah.
This one I think is pretty easy. Which country do the cities of Perth, Adelaide, and Brisbane belong to?
Australia.
That is correct.
Damn it. Damn you drinking.
What geometric shape is generally used for stop signs?
Octagon.
Hexagon.
Octagon.
Damn it. These are like ones if I thought about it for just like
just a split
second, I would get it.
What is, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, cynophobia? Could be xenophobia, but one of the two. Cynophobia. What is it?
Fear of China?
I'm trying to think of words that might have a related base.
I guess maybe it could be kynophobia, but I don't.
How's it spelled?
CYNO phobia.
Oh,
C-Y. Fear of the cold?
Good guess, but it's actually fear of dogs.
Not even close, yeah.
I would have never guessed that.
That was a
yeah.
shitty guess.
I know there's not really a root in there that sounds like, it's not like
Yeah.
canine.
yeah.
Well, I guess canine and kino are similar-ish.
What punctuation mark ends in an imperative sentence?
Imperative.
Oh, a exclamation point.
I would say that's exclamatory. Imperative. How many are there? You got a period, exclamation mark, question mark. Period?
Well, I don't know who to give the point to because the answer is a period or an exclamation point. I'll just call it even on
Well,
that.
okay. Well, I mean, I'm losing, so
Yeah, just give it
it
to us.
would seem like I
No, we both got the, well, that one evens out. Who named the Pacific Ocean?
I know somebody came over the mountains and saw it.
I'll give you a hint. It wasn't Johnny Pacific.
I was going to say Al Pacifico.
Coronado. I have no idea.
You got it.
One. Who are those guys? Lewis and Clark. I'll go with one. Lewis.
I'll give you a hint. This guy was Magellan, like Ferdinand Magellan.
Wait, he discovered it by going around, right? I thought it was somebody who crossed the mountains.
I don't know how he did it, but apparently he named it.
Okay.
How many languages are written from right to left?
2.
That's such a stupid question. I can think of at least one. 2 is probably closer. I'll go with 3.
Now, are we playing you got to be exact or close?
Closest.
We'll get you a point that way. The answer is 12.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There, you're on the board, even though maybe you shouldn't be.
1 to 4. 1 to 4.
How many countries still have the shilling as currency?
1, 2, 3, 2. I'll go with 2.
1.
Okay.
But considering English colonization is probably like 40.
Those are wrong, so no points. The answer is 4. But it says bonus points, which countries. So I'll give you, each of you guys, well, how should I do this? I'll give each of you guys 2 guesses, and if you can name any of the 4.
Well, why don't we name 4, and then whoever you get, however many you name.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. So this is countries that use the shilling.
The thing is, I was in England. I don't remember shilling, but I'll try England, Australia, South Africa, New Zealand.
Okay, that's his 4. What about you, AJ?
Go with Scotland, Ireland.
Might be a great idea.
Does Wales count as own distinct?
Wales is
I think it's its own country.
well, they're all part of Great Britain, but yeah, Wales is its own thing.
Wales and can you count Falklands as their own country?
Well, you didn't say England yet, did you?
Oh, England, yeah.
Well, it was probably a good strategy, like keeping it all in one place just in case. But the place you really should have gone was Africa.
Oh.
Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and Somalia.
Huh.
What?
Shillings.
So
okay.
zero
Zero.
points given. Damn.
What is the name of the man who launched eBay back in 1995?
No idea.
It was not Jack eBay.
I don't know.
This one I would have never got. This is obscure. Pierre Omidyar.
I should
Oh,
know.
I didn't. Yeah.
Never forget a Pierre.
Dirty Pierre. What is the name of the biggest technology company in South Korea?
Samsung.
That's correct.
I don't even have space to catch up now. I don't think.
I don't know how many of these there are, but which animal can be seen on the Porsche logo?
A lion.
A cheetah.
It's a horse.
I almost went with horse, but I was like, Mustang's a horse.
Now, bonus, what can be found on the Jaguar?
Jaguar.
A sloth.
Which monarch officially made Valentine's Day a holiday in 1537?
Henry VIII.
That is correct.
God,
I would not have known
was a
that
good
one.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Who was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize in 1903?
Murray Carey.
Yeah, I would have guessed the same thing.
That is correct.
Okay.
Carey.
Curie.
The first dictionary was written by who?
Webster. Nathaniel Webster.
And your guess?
Fuck, I think I saw something about this recently. Was it the Oxford Dictionary? Like, who wrote on it? God damn it. I've been watching Drunk History. I should know this.
You were drunk while watching.
You've been watching History Channel while drunk, is what you've been.
I don't know.
I've never heard of this guy. Robert Caudry. Worship of Krishna is observed by which religious sect?
Hindus.
Indians. Damn it. Well, if you didn't get that one, it'd be a shame.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that had to go to me.
What is the name of the largest ocean on Earth?
Pacific Ocean.
That is correct.
Yeah,
Apparently named
I would
by
have guessed
Magellan.
Pacific, but I'll see if you got it wrong again.
Demolition of the Berlin Wall separating East and West Germany began in what year?
1991.
I think it was the 80s. I want to say 89.
It was 89. And for some reason, I knew that too, and I'm not sure from where. What is the Romanized Arabic word for moon?
Roman Arabic for moon. Luna?
Oh, yeah, lunar.
Kamar. Qamar.
Yeah. Not even in the ballpark.
Yeah, I would. Who was the first woman pilot to fly solo across the Atlantic?
Amelia Earhart?
That is correct. Oh, and that was the last one.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Do we have some more?
Too.
You know what? It didn't end as badly as you thought. I think 8-4.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. I knew some of his answers, but I was too slow.
That's why I was encouraging you to take another shot.
Trivia drinking, the worst type of drinking.
All right. Well, I don't know if this was our best show, but it was certainly a show.
Really? I thought it was good.
Well, that's because you're drunk.
That's the thing. I usually do think they're better when I've been drinking.
But you're wrong.
Maybe I should dial back and look at some of these old episodes. Drunkometer.
Yeah, see, I edit these, so I know.
Well, cut out the parts where I'm stupid.
Then we'd have no show.
Say hi, guys. Bye.
I set you up for that.
Well, if anybody made it this far, and you deserve a medal, but you also deserve to give us praise in the form of comments, 5-star reviews,
1 coupon for free peanuts,
and subscriptions. And the ultimate prize really is following us on Twitter. Guys, where can people find you on Twitter?
I am at a name for this too, and that's number 2.
At Unsolicited G. I post occasional jokes.
You just got your name wrong.
Yeah, it's S-U-G. S-U-G.
S-U-G. Stand up, guys.
Shug?
You just said G. Like a rapper.
Well, I mean, we all have dreams. Unsolicited S-U-G.
That's correct. And you can, of course, find me at Zach Jones Live, ZACHJONESLIVE. And that is going to do it for all of our shenanigans and poppycock this week. Please, 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 we promise we'll do better next week. Tune in again next week. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Take care.
Have a good one.